Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today we are continuing the travel in my never-ending quest to improve my wardrobe into something that looks good, feels good, and fits good. So today we're actually going to be working on this. I know, I'm filming an intro after I made the thing. I know. This desire for a cute little vest was actually from first making my 18th century stays, and secondly just, you know, Hobbit vibes. I feel like my cottagecore aesthetic is very hinged on the Shire sometimes, but it's a look I really like, and because I'm quite short and I'm quite curvy, it's a silhouette that often does make me feel a bit better about my body, and I think that's totally fine. So if you too want some cute little vests just in time for autumn so you can wear them with nice twirly skirts and, you know, go into the woods as they're changing and, you know, go collect some mushrooms or something. Just my aesthetic, you guys. Then come along. Today we'll actually be making two things, but I'll leave the last one as a little bit of a surprise at the end. I have it right there, it is finished. And it does look really nice. And it is based on 18th century stays, so a different kind of vest, but still the same kind of vibe. So I'll pass you over to Sewing Cat, who will be talking you through the patterns we're going to use, the materials, and how to quickly whip these up. I wouldn't say this is a very complicated thing to make. You will need to know how to sew, but I think once you've done a bit of sewing, it's all kind of the same. Straight seams, finish the seams, etc, etc. But I'll show you a little bit more about them in the video, and let's get to it. So this is about 3 mock-ups later, which I forgot to record. But here we are. Basically, first I wanted to set out that you won't have any of these issues if you buy patterns in your own size. Unfortunately, I only realized that I bought this, the Butterick pattern, in the smaller sizes after I checked out. So I thought, you know, I can just add to it and make it fit. And so here we are. I know it looks a bit weird at the front, but that is just because I didn't want to put any lacing holes on it because I'm lazy. So it's just pinned at the moment, so that's why it looks a little tight. But otherwise, I think it's looking good. And you can see over here. And so I've finalized this pattern, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second. I can't show you the other pattern, the Simplicity one, because unfortunately I made it fit me and then I tore it apart to pattern. So I'll just show you what the fitted pattern with the final pattern for that looks like. Basically what I had to do is to make them bigger, I just added at the side seams. I didn't do anything fancy because I didn't want to move the shape of the back or the shape of the front. So I just added to the side. I thought that was the easiest thing to do, and it was. And in the end, I think this is going to work out really well. So I'm going to show you the finished patterns now, and then we can get to business. Okay, so here's my final Simplicity pattern. It's this pattern. And basically what I did was when I tried on the mock-up, I could tell immediately that it was way too tight because I wanted to have a small gap at the front and the back. I wanted to almost meet. So all I did was I slashed it up the side of the side seam, and then I added a bit of fabric underneath, and then I just marked until it was like comfortable and looked okay. And so that is this panel, the new panel that I introduced into the pattern. Quick disclaimer, this is not the proper way to size up a pattern, but because this isn't meant to be a historical build, it's just a casual wardrobe build, I thought it'd be okay. And yeah, it worked for me. So just keep in mind as well, if you're doing something differently, that this does extend the armhole by as much as you add to the bust and the waist. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, this is my final pattern. Okay, and here's the other pattern, the Butterick one. I cut it in the view A here. The main change I did was exactly the same. I slashed this middle piece down the middle at the side seam, you know, like just under the underarm, and I added fabric until it fit fine because I didn't want to change the neckline at the front or the back. The other thing I did was that I added to the back here, because obviously by adding this much to the side seam, it moves the armhole. So the armhole I think is still a little bit funky, but it'll have to work. I also adjusted this slightly because it was gaping a little weirdly. And yeah, that is my pattern. I just basically did the same thing where I slash into the side seam and just add until it fits, and it worked. So off we go. Okay, so lastly I just wanted to very quickly show you the fabrics that I have for these projects. So for the Simplicity stays, I will be using this, I think it's only half a meter now that I have. This is a really lovely Liberty cotton that I bought maybe 4 years ago when I made a different pair of 18th century stays. This must be one of my favorite fabrics ever. I just love it. It's so beautiful. It's very light and very good quality because obviously it's Liberty. I bought it in Goldhawk Road. If you live in or around London, you are sometimes able to find old, really well discounted Liberty fabrics there. And so I only got 1 meter of this because it was still, I think, maybe 12 or 14 pounds a meter. So I only got 1 meter and it was enough for those stays, and I think will be enough for these stays as well. And I think they look really cute. So yeah, I'm really excited to use it, but also a little sad. Do you get emotionally attached to fabric and then you're like, oh, it'll be used up? But hopefully this is something I'll get lots of wear out of and it'll look really cute. And then for the Butterick vest, I have got this lovely sort of lightweight wool suiting. I bought this, I think also 4 or 5 years ago for a vest that I made for an Aurora cosplay. And I've had about half a meter left for a while. I think I used it for the lining of my waistcoat as well. And I just have enough left just for a small project. And I think this would be perfect to use up these last bits of fabric that I love. And hopefully will be very wearable. And then the last fabric I have is just a bit of sort of heavier weight linen, just to use as interlining to give it a little bit more body. And the last thing I just remembered is that I haven't pre-washed any of these fabrics because this was before I thought pre-washing was necessary, but I kind of want to wash these things in the machine because they're going to be everyday items if I need to. So I think I won't be cutting anything today, and instead I'm just going to pre-wash all of these fabrics. So wish me luck, bye. So I have interlined all of my pieces, which I should have shown you. Interlining is just when you join 2 pieces of fabric together, but then you're going to treat that pattern piece as one. So a couple of quick tips that I just posted today on my Instagram in case you missed that post. So for flatlining, I always use a small needle, and that's because the holes that it'll make in the outer fabric will be much smaller. I also use thin, light thread, and in this case I just use cotton thread. You want something that will break easy, so you can pull it out, but also something thin that won't like make a dent in the fabric. The other thing I do is that I don't knot my thread, I just take a back stitch so it's secured, and that's a lot easier to pull out when you have to remove all of the basting stitches. The other thing I do is that for a panel that is slightly wider, I always do one down the middle, and I do that one first and then work outwards. What else can I tell you? Oh, and I don't know if you noticed this in the videos, but I always use the fashion fabric down like this, and then the interlining at the top. I don't know, it just seems to have better results for me in the end. And so I've done that to all of my pieces of both of the little vest type things. So as the fabric pieces are all ready now, I can go ahead with starting on the seams. So this is a really straightforward construction. I'm just going to sew up all the side seams, possibly even the shoulder, and then I'm going to press the seams open and then turn on the raw edges and then top stitch them down, and that creates a flat felled seam by machine. And then I'm going to use boning in that, and I'm going to see if it needs any more boning. I don't think it will, so I'll come back to you soon. So I just wanted to talk really quickly about how I'm going to finish the neckline. I'm currently working on the brown vest, and it's going to be a similar method for the other one, but yeah. So you must have just seen me make some bias tape. You can make bias tape at home, you can buy it in the shop. It is much quicker to buy it in the shop, but I wanted, you know, not to go to the shop. So here we are. I just cut 1 inch wide strips of the fabric on the bias, and then I just connected them and ironed them. And now I'm just going to pin them around the neckline and the armholes and sew them right sides together for 1/4 inch, and then iron it all to the wrong side. So usually when you bind things in bias binding, you would keep some of the bias binding on the right side. I'm just going to iron it all to the other side for a more finished edge. I don't want the bias look for this, but here we are. Welcome to day 2. So I've been working away in the evening last night, and you would have seen me finish the neckline and the armhole with the bias binding kind of thing. And the other thing I've been working on is I've been adding boning. So boning is completely optional for these kind of things, but I think it does like make it look nicer, and it does give a bit more support. So I've added boning at the center front, at the curved seams, and at the back. But I just wanted to talk really quick about the curved seams at the bust. So those seams are so curved that the normal synthetic whalebone that I use, it just doesn't curve in that way, and so it looks really weird. So the solution to that is spiral steel. In case you've never seen spiral steel before, it looks like... Aha! I did the YouTube thing. So this is a really good boning for curved seams because it is very bendy, and I just have the thinnest that I could find, and it's actually, the one thing I don't like about it is that it's always been really heavy and clunky, but this thinness is really good. So I'm just going to cut that out and finish boning this vest, and then I'm just going to finish the bottom edge. I'll show you that too, and then it'll be done. So, I forgot to update you, but I've been working away. So these days are now boned after I did all those alterations. I think they're looking great. The next and last step I need to do is to bind them. So you can do a bunch of different things on how you want to finish this. You can just turn the edges down and sew them down. You could add a facing, you could add a lining. Can do whatever you want. I've decided to bind them because that's such an 18th century look, and I thought it would look really cute. And I've actually decided to use the fabric that I used for the other vest because it just looks really nice. So all I have to do is now cut some more strips out of this scrap of fabric. I don't think I'll be able to use it for much more after, but yeah, so I just have lots of strips to cut and then sew together. And I've also decided to do the lacing out of strips. So I'm just gonna cut 1 inch wide strips and then sew them down into like a tube. And yeah, let's get to it.